I will bet when you are talking to your friends about real estate that you hear terms like, it's a buyer's market. No, it's a seller's market. No, it's a balanced market. So what does this mean? Would you like to know what to do if you were a seller or a buyer in one of these markets? If you would, then I'm going to give you the whole scoop. So stick around. Hi, I'm Gary Sims. I work with my wife, Rosemary Tulit. We are the Rosemary and Gary Victoria Homes team. We work with the local brokerage DFH Real Estate Limited in Victoria, BC, Canada. Today, I'm going to be talking about sellers, buyers, and balanced markets. I'm going to tell you all about it. I have decided to break this into 3 videos just due to the length of the topic. The first video today is about how to identify these different markets. I'm going to show you where to get information, and I'm going to give you a bit of an example from the Canadian statistics and the Victoria statistics so you can see how this is working. And I'm sure you'll see that this makes a lot of sense. If you're ready to go, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with part 1. So the first question we want to ask is, what is a seller's market? And what is a buyer's market? How do we tell the difference? And what is a balanced market? These are all terms we hear all the time, but I'm not sure everyone really knows. We know kind of it's busy or it's not busy, or maybe it's equal. Let's see what else. So how do you know what type of market you're in? What's the secret formula for deciding this? Well, what is a seller's market? For one thing, demand is greater than supply. So what that means is that there's lots of people shopping, and there's fewer properties that cannot really fulfill the requirements of the buyers. So at the end of each month, there's very low inventory. Homes sell very fast in a seller's market. Buyers are competing, and this is leading to higher asking prices, and it's generally pushing the price of all properties up. Buyers are often willing to spend more than they might otherwise just because they get tired of putting in offers and not getting them, and they're afraid of missing out. And buyers are also unable to negotiate. You really don't tell the seller that you don't want to have that particular type of window covering. Instead, you take what you get and you're happy with that. And the last thing is, buyers must know they're at a disadvantage in this market. So therefore, buyers have to be very cautious on how they go about approaching their deals. Now, in a buyer's market, supply is greater than demand, so you have a high end month inventory. There's lots of homes for sale. You have a choice of many homes. Homes are on the market for a lot longer. Sellers are the ones who are competing, which leads to maybe lower asking prices in order to compete, because for all things being equal, that's the only thing sellers can do. And sellers are very willing to negotiate. For example, maybe there's a take-back mortgage, or else maybe they will replace the roof or fix that foundation issue that was found in the initial looking at the house. And what about balanced markets? A balanced market is where there's an equal number of listing and buyers, which really means that there's enough houses for all the buyers. So instead of pushing prices up or down, really prices only increase in line with inflation. So if inflation is 1 or 2%, we will see houses rising that way. I'm going to show you a graph later, sort of indicates some of this stuff. So how do you know what type of market you're in? Well, the key indicator of this is the months of inventory. This is the number of active listings at month end divided by the number of sales during the month. You can check the websites of your local real estate boards for the current monthly statistics to get the total number of sales and the current active listings at the month end and do this calculation. So for example, in Victoria, BC, Canada, where we live, on March 2022, there was active listings of 1,063 properties, and there was sales of 833 properties during the month. So if we divide 833 into 1,063, that gives us a number 1.3. Now, if the months of inventory is equal or less than 4, then we're in a seller's market. If the months of inventory is equal or greater to 6, then we're in a buyer's market. And if the months of inventory is between 4 and 6, then we are in a balanced market. Therefore, Victoria, which had 1.3 months inventory, is in a seller's market. In Canada, about 2/3 of the local markets were seller markets based on the sales to new listings ratio being more than one standard deviation above its long-term mean in March 2022. The other third of local markets were in a balanced market territory, and a few of the different markets in Eastern Canada were actually in buyer's markets. There were 1.8 months of inventory on a national basis at the end of March 2022, up from a record low of just 1.6 months in the previous 3 months. Note that Victoria was even lower at 1.3 months of inventory. The long-term average for this measure in Canada is more than 5 months, which would typically be a balanced market. Okay, let's just see how this looks in the real Victoria market and in the Canada-wide markets. So here's the Victoria Sellers Market. This graph shows you each month from May 2021 until March 2022, and as well a forecast for April 2022. Along the side, it shows you the calculation that we did earlier with the number of active listings divided by the number of sales. And you'll see, as we predicted, the sales varied between 1.3, 1.5 in July last year, down to 1.4 in October, up to 1.6 in January, and in this current month, March 2022, was at 1.3, and the forecast is for about 2.2 in April 2022. Canada-wide looks very similar. This graph is over a longer period of time. We have the months down the left side, and the blue vertical bars are the calculated values for the months of inventory. So you can see in January 2017 that we had about 4.5 months of inventory, which means this was in the balanced market. You can see all the months between about January 2017 all the way up to March 2020 are in a balanced market between 4 and 6. And then all of a sudden in April, it shot up to around 9, which is a buyer's market. And that coincides with COVID 2019 taking off, and everyone quit selling their houses and everyone quit buying them. So all of a sudden there was an inventory increase, and that drove this number up. However, the second month after that, it went down quickly as people saw there was lots of properties to buy. And then quite unexpectedly, the index went all the way down to 1.3 as of March this year. Now, the other line here, this red line, shows you the number of sales. It's really just, it's a sales to new listing ratio, and it's kind of an inverse to this months of inventory listing. And you'll see that as this months of inventory goes down, the sales to listing goes up. So the reason that number is so high is because we have less listings and we have more sales. They're really similar ways of indicating this, and you'll see this calculation done by a number of the real estate boards. I didn't do it in this example. All right, so that ends the very first part of part 1. And in part 2, we're going to talk about tips of what you can do. So in part 2, if we're assuming we're in a seller's market, what can a buyer do? And what should a seller do as well? So that's it for this. In part 3, we will also look at a buyer's market and the same. What should sellers do in a buyer's market? And what should buyers do in a buyer's market? We will also talk about the balanced market and what's going on there. If you like this video, then please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to our channels to get all our real estate information, and click on the notification bell in order to be notified of our weekly uploads. Also, have a look at the video below for some more interesting information on the Victoria, and you may also check our channels. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.